One more company before the break, and that is Uber.
Yay!
Everybody loves to talk about this one. And a lot of people love to hate this company. I don't know why it is. But of course, we know what we're talking about, right? Because it's very visible. Ride sharing, car hailing, the taxi company that has no taxis, you know what everybody likes to say.
And no employees. Although they do.
Well, they've just lost one of their employees, Mr. Travis Kalanick.
Number one.
The CEO who has stepped down.
Yes.
So give us a bit of background to the company and why it's done so well in such a short time.
So it was founded by a couple of guys. The first CEO, I think, lasted about 18 months or so. His surname Graves, I think Ryan Graves or whatever. He was referred to as number two. Travis took up the reins. He's a bit of a colourful character, old Trav. But recently he's lost his mom in a boating accident, and his dad was sick, and he was involved in the back of a taxi screaming at a driver, and that clip went viral. But worst of all, boardroom shenanigans around sexism and a poor culture at the company. So that's probably why it's been in the news for all the wrong reasons. But it's still got one of the most fabulous apps. I mean, you can see where your taxi is, and you can see they're not going to rip you off. They're going direct to the destination.
So it's completely changed the way people view mobility. The old days, you either had to use public transport or you wanted to have your own car. Now there's this kind of middle opportunity where you can use these services. And particularly young people around the world in urban centers have increasingly stopped owning cars and just use Uber.
Yeah, so at a tiering level, you can use either the van, if there are 10 of you, and you can even split the fare. You can use a fancy one, or even, I think, in places like Washington, D.C. and New York, you can Uber pool. So you and I can meet up, and we're going generally in the same direction. You get a much cheaper fare. So you're given an option of varieties. But they do own other stuff too. Uber Eats and Otto, the driverless truck that delivered Budweiser, I think, was the first delivery.
There is obviously the trend towards driverless vehicles, so that's the idea that in due course you may not even use the driver. That's not very good news for the drivers.
Well, they did autopilot some of the stuff, and somebody promptly
rammed one in Arizona or New Mexico or something.
And there were lots of pictures, even though it wasn't Uber's fault. The fact of the matter is that it was poor press. But I think, you know, travel and mobility, I mean, that's going nowhere anytime soon.
Because, I mean, it's fabulous for the user. We all know the app and how it works, but it's also quite an intriguing opportunity for the drivers, because in countries like South Africa, there's been an enormous number of people who want to get in that industry, self-starters, entrepreneurs. You can finance a fairly relatively new car once you've got a contract. People making good money. It just seems to work very well, and it's great because people can work at their own time, using their own hours, etc.
If you want to work at 4 in the morning or 12 at night, it's there and available to you.
Okay, good. So it may well come to the market. Kalanick is sort of semi...
No, he's gone.
Well, I mean, he's stepped down as a CEO, but he's the controlling shareholder. He's got all the voting stock. He could come back tomorrow if he wanted to. But it doesn't matter. My point is, this is a great and very exciting company. I'd love to own some of this if it could come to the market, and I think it probably will. It's got a business valuation of like $60–70 billion. That's pretty tremendous. That's the basis on which it was recently fundraising. So could it do an IPO in the relatively near future?
I hope so.
And if it did, we'd be looking to accumulate.
Yeah, hot.
Hot. Excellent.